funny, isn't it? We think of a day as just, another day passing by. But when you zoom in, like really focus on a specific day, like today, April 4th, 2025, especially in a world like the Pokemon TCG, so much has happened.
Absolutely. It's a whirlwind of activity.
And that's exactly what we've done for this deep dive. We've sifted through, I don't know, maybe hundreds of discussions, news articles, forum posts, even little snippets of conversations between collectors and experts, all from within the last 24 hours. Just to bring you, well, the good stuff.
The core insights, without getting lost in the weeds.
Exactly. No one wants to be bombarded with, every single detail.
Right. It's about that curated, almost laser-focused view of what truly matters right now.
So consider this your express pass to understanding the Pokemon TCG landscape, specifically on this very day, April 4th, 2025. And you know what? That's actually our mission today, right? To really dissect what's moving and shaking in the Pokemon TCG world just on this one date.
Absolutely. We're talking about examining what's being said, what's being predicted, what's happening in the market, all within this very specific 24-hour window.
Perfect. So where do we even begin?
Well, a good place to start might be the intersection of the digital and physical. Because over on the PokeBeach forums, there's this pretty interesting buzz around Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Oh, yeah, the app, right.
Exactly. They've just revealed they're venturing into, wait for it, physical merchandise.
For an app.
It sounds strange, right? But that's what has everyone talking.
And the reactions are pretty mixed. Some people seem genuinely excited, but others, well, let's just say they're not convinced. I was looking at some posts from earlier this morning, incredibly early. Sunday, 3:05 a.m. Then another one at 5:33 a.m.
Yeah.
Clearly some dedicated fans out.
Burning the midnight oil.
Seriously. And one user, GDups 4Leaf, I think, was pretty blunt. Straight up asked, why does this feel forced? Who thought this was a good idea? I mean, it's a valid question. Does it make sense to create physical merchandise for a digital experience?
Right. Where's the value for the collector? Another user, River, I think, echoed that sentiment. They were questioning the need for merchandise altogether.
But there was this one comment, and this is where it gets interesting. Someone suggested, time for a Wigglytuff plushie based on that viral card. Now, that I can see people getting behind.
I mean, that's smart. If you're going to bridge the digital-physical gap, why not leverage something that's already resonating with people?
Makes you wonder what other digital elements could translate well into physical collectibles.
Lots of possibilities there. But let's shift gears a bit from the digital to the actual cards themselves.
Tangible. You can hold them in your hand.
Exactly. And on that note, the PokeBeach forums were also buzzing about the upcoming Team Rocket's Mewtwo X box. It's scheduled for a June release.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Team Rocket. Classic.
Always a fan favorite.
I like them.
And the fact that discussions around a future release are already happening, well, that says something about the anticipation. It starts to shape expectations.
And potentially, influence the market a bit. People start thinking about value, future prices.
Precisely. So let's zoom out a bit, look at the wider market context, because we came across this really interesting comparison. Top 10 best-selling pre-sold MTG cards from Tarkir, Dragonstorm. Apparently, even common cards are seeing strong pre-sales there.
What does that tell us about the Pokemon TCG market, though?
It's a reminder that value isn't always about rarity.
Meaning?
In Magic, the game mechanics, how a card functions in play, can massively influence demand. Even if it's a common card, it might be super useful, which drives up the price.
So we should be thinking about that when we look at the Pokemon TCG discussions from today.
Yeah.
Not just chasing after the super rare, shiny cards.
Exactly. Utility matters. And speaking of, let's dive into the conversations surrounding specific Pokemon TCG sets that we saw today. There was a lot of chatter about Journey Together. Many are predicting reprints.
Which usually means what?
Price drops. Possibly even below MSRP.
For those keeping score at home, we're seeing elite trainer boxes for Journey Together in the $70, $85 range on sites like eBay and TCG Player. As of today, April 4th, 2025, that is.
Right. And that price already reflects the market's, I guess you could say, anticipation of those potential reprints. If a flood of new booster boxes hits the market, well, prices will likely adjust downwards.
Makes you think twice about, paying inflated prices from those less reputable sellers.
Scalpers. Some forum posts even mention how some scalpers might be, let's say, regretting their purchases right now.
Yeah, that's the risk you take when you try to game the system. Anyway, let's move on to another hot topic, 151. Huge nostalgia factor there.
Absolutely. And while it's super popular right now, the general consensus is that it'll become more affordable over time.
So patience, is a virtue.
Especially for collectors.
Now, how about prismatic evolutions? That
Mhm.
one seems to be gaining traction as a sleeper hit, right?
Mhm.
Some people are saying it could be the next journey together in terms of, long-term value.
Prismatic Evolutions had that amazing EV theme going for it, and strong set list, so it's not surprising to see it gaining attention.
Sealed booster packs might become harder to find too. That always drives up prices.
Scarcity is a collector's best friend.
Okay, on to some potential sleeper picks for you. Temporal Forces. People are flagging this one as having serious potential for future value.
It might have those hidden gems, cards that haven't quite caught on yet.
Or maybe a unique game mechanic that people haven't fully appreciated yet.
That happens all the time.
Paradox Rift is also getting some attention, being mentioned alongside Temporal Forces. So, two to keep an eye on.
Definitely. Now, one trend we notice across the board is that booster boxes from the Scarlet and Violet era seem to be increasing in price over time.
Even if individual card prices might fluctuate.
It's a classic Pokémon TCG pattern. As sets go out of print, those sealed booster boxes become more desirable, more valuable. There's a finite number of them out there.
Makes sense. Okay, on to Brilliant Stars and Chilling Reign. It seems Brilliant Stars is lagging a bit behind in terms of booster box value.
This could be due to a number of things. Maybe the set list of Chilling Reign is seen as stronger, or perhaps there was more initial hype around Chilling Reign when it was released.
And let's not forget the nostalgia factor. We saw discussions about black and white era cards potentially going up in value.
Happens all the time. A new release might feature a mechanic or Pokémon from an older era, and suddenly those old cards become hot again.
It's like history repeating itself.
In a good way, for collectors.
Okay, let's get specific. The Magikarp Illustration Rare. Apparently, a PSA 10 copy is going for a cool $1,200.
Wow.
Even raw, it's around $231.
Which is still significant.
But what's interesting here is that it shows how attainable illustration rares can be compared to, secret rares.
You have a better chance of pulling them.
But they can still hold or gain significant value, especially if you have a high grade.
Which is why getting your cards graded can be a good investment.
Moving on. The Tyranitar Illustration Rare. Another one people are calling a sleeper pick. They cite the artwork, the potentially easier pull rates.
If you like Tyranitar, that might be one to snag now before it potentially goes up.
Now, this one brought back some memories. The Gengar and Mimikyu GX from the Team Up set. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, great set.
The full art version is one thing, but the alternative art version is going for around $550 today.
Alternative arts always command a premium.
And the Team Up set as a whole is looking good for long-term growth.
It had those popular character pairings. The large set size also makes it more desirable to complete.
Speaking of long-term growth, Mega Garchomp EX from Primal Clash is seeing a bit of a resurgence. As the Scarlet and Violet era winds down, some are speculating about a possible return to Mega Pokemon mechanics.
Interesting. Could be a good time to, stock up on those Mega Pokemon cards.
Evolving Skies is still a powerhouse set, no surprise there. The Rayquaza VMAX has seen a huge price jump in the last 3 months, reaching about $285 today.
Stunning card. Very popular.
And the Glacian VMAX from that same set is holding steady around $100.
Evolutions. Always a safe bet.
Here's a fun one. Arbok. Specifically, the one associated with Team Rocket. It's only going for $16 right now. But some people think it has sleeper potential. Could be one of those surprise cards down the line.
You never know what might become sought after.
The Fluttermane Pokemon Center exclusive. Get this. A PSA 10 is selling for almost $2,000.
That Pokemon Center stamp really adds value, makes it much rarer.
And of course, a high grade like a PSA 10 makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about Pop 1 cards. There's a new Articuno Illustration Rare out, and the first PSA 10 graded copy is, well, it's a hot commodity.
Because it's the first one.
Exactly.
Right.
That novelty, that initial scarcity drives up the price.
And finally, circling back to the Team Rocket's Mewtwo X box, there's a lot of hype around the Giovanni's Mewtwo alternative art. People are saying it could be the next alt art Umbreon from Evolving Skies.
High praise indeed. That Umbreon card is legendary.
So, lots to be excited about. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? We also saw discussions about the impact of tariffs on importing Pokemon cards.
Real-world economics hitting the hobby.
Specifically, there were concerns about pre-release events for the glory of Team Rocket. Higher import costs could mean higher prices for consumers.
Or even order cancellations. There were some issues with Hobbiesville in Canada and the Journey Together release.
But the good news is it seems like the free market should prevent too much price gouging.
Competition is a good thing.
Okay, let's shift gears to the community side of things. The Pokemon World Championships in Anaheim are coming up, and people are buzzing about it.
Huge event.
Some are going for the competitive scene, others are more interested in trading.
It's a melting pot of Pokemon fans.
We also saw discussions about master sets. That's, collecting every single card from a set.
The ultimate goal for many collectors.
Some people go for the expensive cards first, others try to fill in the gaps gradually.
Different strokes for different folks.
Oh, and have you heard of a Munch set? Apparently, the Eevee Munch card is getting a lot of attention, which might drive up the price.
Well, limited edition promos are always unpredictable.
And here's a cool little tidbit. There's a website, misprint.com, that lets you scan multiple Pokemon cards with one photo.
Sounds useful.
Great for cataloging your collection.
Definitely.
Lastly, there's a debate going on about opening Chinese Pokemon cards. Some people collect foreign language cards, others don't.
It's a matter of preference.
So there you have it.
Yes.
A snapshot of the Pokemon TCG world on this very day, April 4th, 2025. New products, market fluctuations, community discussions, and even a bit of controversy.
It's a dynamic world, never a dull moment.
So the question is, where does it all go from here? What trends will emerge? What investment opportunities will present themselves?
It's up to you to keep your finger on the pulse, to watch and learn and adapt.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into April 4th, 2025. Until next time, keep collecting and keep exploring the amazing world of Pokemon.
See you next time.